अभिनव अग्रवाल को राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कार से नवाजा गया।
11 students from India got into Stanford, and he is one of the only one to get 100% scholarship.
Said yes, I will get full scholarship, so you don't have to worry about the affordability part. The scholarship does cover like almost all of it, like tuition and like living expenses.
Got it.
But Germany definitely not in winter because it snows, and those admission officers are usually college students like who have volunteered to staff at those programs. It might harm them like when it comes to college applications.
Preparing for JEE, so it will increase your chances. You will score full in your SAT. So it's wrong or right? So alpha, beta, gamma, drama.
If you're in alpha batch, you're really good, you're smart. If you're in beta batch, you're mediocre. If you're in gamma batch, then you. That reminds me, I have to call my mom after this meeting. We do cross the sky limits.
Okay, so hello Vinay, hello. Good morning.
Hi, Krishna.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, so we are starting from like 8th grade. Like in everyone's life, there were some points. So I think that starting point is 8th grade. So can we start from 8th grade? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Like in 8th grade, you are taking some exam, like which is I think FITGI test, and you said that exam changed your life. So how could you say that exam changed your life?
I would say, like before I took that test, like I kind of knew that I would probably like go for JEE or something like that, but I wasn't entirely sure. So just taking that test and like getting that scholarship kind of like pushed me towards that okay, now I don't have an excuse. I mean, I have a scholarship to do that, so I might as well, even if I don't end up doing JEE, there's no harm in like doing it for 9th and 10th grade. And so I joined FITGI in 9th grade, and then I think things kind of like shaped up from there, like, I mean, for Olympiads and a lot of other things after that.
And you joined our first meeting approx like last year in September. So you guided to many students, and you don't believe, but one of these students are like printed your picture and put that picture in front of their study table. And unfortunately,
Damn.
that student is not selected in any top universities because I think he don't follow your rule. Like you say that first is discipline is greater than hard work, greater than motivation, but he said that motivation is first and hard work is second and discipline is third. So he forget your rule, I think. So why you said that discipline is first?
Like if you just put motivation first, then like it might help you start at the beginning, but you won't keep up with it because like whatever external motivation you had at the beginning, let's say like someone watched a really motivational video on YouTube, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna like do this or I'm gonna do that, and then they start preparing for it, or like the way it works, like when people start going to gym, so they are highly motivated and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna like lose this much pounds or like gain this much muscle, like and then they start going with a lot of motivation. On first day they would like, instead of going there for an hour, they would overdo it, like do it for 3 hours or 4 hours, and then they would not keep up with it. Like next time they would be like, oh, I have cramps in my muscles, I cannot go today, but I went for 3 hours the other day, so I don't need to, maybe I overdid it the other time. So that's where like motivation comes in. Like motivation is a good probably might be a good reason to start something. Like it might push you to start something, but it won't help you stick with it unless you have discipline, and maintaining that discipline takes a lot of hard work. And doing hard work also takes a lot of discipline, so both of those things are intertwined. Like if you want to keep working hard towards something, then you do need that discipline, because nobody does it for pleasure. Like if someone starts running like 5 miles a day, then it is hard. So if they don't have discipline, they won't keep up with running 5 miles a day because it doesn't give you pleasure. It's hard work. So that's why I place discipline at the top. And from there, like I place hard work like not below it, but sort of like somewhere around it, because without like hard work, like you like discipline, as I said, like maintaining discipline does take a lot of hard work, and like you need to be disciplined to be able to persist throughout that hard work. And then motivation, I don't place too much value on it because it might help you start, but it won't like get you anywhere. It won't get you anything like or get you anywhere in a way.
Yeah, great, fantastic. And like during the whole journey, your application process or everything, who helped you? Like who guide you? Like a Google Baba or someone else? Who helped you or guide you?
um I think Google was the key resource I used because there are a lot of websites and there's a lot of content on internet like about college admissions, and like the only caveat of using Google is there's just too much literature. There's a lot of advice, so it's kind of hard to navigate good advice from bad advice, or like I wouldn't say bad advice, but just advice that won't be relevant or won't be useful enough to you or won't apply to your case. So it's kind of hard to like navigate through that, but Google definitely has plethora of websites and resources for anyone to use if they want to uh like apply abroad or like do anything for that matter. However, I did of course like have I mean, teachers and my parents. Like my parents, like they were there in the sense that they would not like stop me from doing something. Like if I told them that hey, I want to take this exam or I want to go to this IIT or I want to do this, then they would not stop me. They would like be supportive of that. So that also really helped, like because then I had less barriers in that sense. Like I did not have to convince my parents to let me do something. I only had to convince myself, and that's the easier part, like because you start finding excuses when you have to convince someone else. So then sometimes like, so if something is hard, then you would be like, oh yeah, my parents won't agree to this, or like my mom won't agree to this, so you won't even try. But if that barrier is not there, that you don't have to convince them, then uh then you don't have that excuse that you have to convince someone else and then they won't agree. Then only reason for you to not do something is because you don't want to do it, or you or it's something with you, so you have to take it up with yourself. However, the first time I took that decision to go abroad, that's when I had to of course convince them, because that was a huge decision. So of course, like you wouldn't want to leave it on a teenager anyway, like you do want adults involved in that decision. But once we were past that stage where I had decided that I want to go abroad and they had agreed to it, after that all other small decisions, like they kind of fell into my purview, and like they did not interfere that much.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. And any advice for student, like many students said that sir, my parents are not agreed for abroad studies and I want to study abroad in MIT, Harvard top universities. But my parents said that you just have to prepare for IIT JEE. So any advice or anything like how they like manage that stuff by because they are stressed because their family members are not like supportive like you. So any advice for them?
I honestly won't know what to say to that, because I like I did not fully face that situation. Like I had to convince them. Like my parents, like they had their, like when they took a lot of convincing on my part to let me go abroad, like they had their other practical reasons. They were like, yeah, we won't be able to afford it, so even if you get admission, what's the point, and things like that. And then like if you leave JE and let's say you don't get into a great university abroad, or that even if you get into a university you don't get enough scholarship, then what's your plan B? Like what will you do? Because then you won't have taken JE, you won't have prepared for IIT, and then you won't be able to go abroad. So in that case, what will you do? So they had these kind of practical questions, and I did answer them. So yeah, that's one thing I would say, like if your parents like, because it also depends like on a case by case basis. Like maybe someone's parents, they just don't want to send them away, like too far away. They are like, oh yeah, like in India we could at least travel, or we could at least like, you could also travel during breaks and meet us, and we could meet you. But if you're abroad, then that frequency would be very low, and we don't want to send you away. Someone's parents might have that reason to not agree to send someone abroad. So I don't know what I would say to that, but if their reasons like uh kind of revolve around like these practical issues, such as like affordability and scholarship and like plan B and a lot of these kind of things, then I would just advise the student to uh sort of give logical answers to those questions and have evidence to back it up with. Like if you're telling your parents that yes, I will get full scholarship, so you don't have to worry about the affordability part, then you need to have evidence to back it up, that like, look, I have good grades and I have good extracurriculars, like I have done this much so far. So if I keep doing it and if I keep moving in this direction, then I will get there. I will get into a good university with the scholarship that I need. So that makes it easier for parents to like say yes, because they have their doubts and their concerns sort of resolved. And you are not just saying that out of thin air. Like let's say there's a student like who like in 11th grade, and so far in 9th and 10th grade, like he wasn't focused on studies, he didn't do any extracurriculars, or like doesn't have anything to back his claims up that he'll get scholarship. Then parents would be skeptical. They would be like, okay, what is he like, like how are you saying that you will like get 90% or 95% in 12th grade, and you will like do this much when you have not shown us that you can do it? So it helps like if you have something to back your claims up with, and then you should just like answer their questions one by one, and they're on your side. Like your parents are not working against you, they're on your side. So if they see potential, if they know that okay, like yeah, like you could do it, then they would definitely let you do it.
Yeah, it's totally logical. Yeah, like mapping horizons. I read the whole book, and I think it's full of like motivation, and like you provide a proper guidance, and you say about like your whole story. So I love that book. I already like read the whole book. So yeah, I feel
Amazing.
connected with you after reading that book. So I just feel that connected you. Okay, so I just have a question. Like when you take this first exam, you and other students who also taking that exam, they are thinking that they are like they are thinking and trying to break the rat race, and unaware that they are entering the another big rat race. So what's about that? Like it's JE, or it's about like simple college school life into a JE life? So what about that?
Yeah, like when we are in school, like since 7th, 8th grade, the only thing in our purview or in our horizon, sort of, is that like, yeah, we have to get good grades in school and all that. Just that. That's the only thing that sort of matters to our parents or us. Apart from other things, like you will do extracurriculars, you will like just like do things just for fun and all that. But like uh, for the bread and butter part of it, like yeah, like you should study, get good grades in school. Some That's about it. And then once you enter JE prep, then you're like, okay, now I'm doing like along with school like studies and all that. Then you're like, yeah, so there are these exams like talent tax, or like I have to get good scores in like the weekly tests or monthly like tests in the coaching center or like in the JE prep center. And then there are those national level exams like talent tax, FTRE and all that. So I have to get good ranks in those exams, and then there are olympiads. So and then thousands and lakhs of students would take those exams. So that's what I probably meant by that. Like at any point, like you just like are trying to do something subjective and personal, but as far as these things are concerned, like you are just sort of just like running in a marathon or a race, like just focusing on a score, a grade, or a rank or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think whenever you take any exam, you just like before the exam, you just meditate for 2 minutes. So it's true, like you are right now, like whenever you take any exam in USA, so you are using that same technique.
Yeah, also like exams here are sort of different. Like first year, we pretty much did not have a lot of exams because of COVID. So a lot of like professors changed the structure of their classes to uh, put more weight on assignments rather than exams in the grades, because they could not like hold in-person exams, right? And online exams, like they're not reliable in a way. So but after that, like since like last few quarters, like we have had in-person exams, and I uh do that. Like it just helps like to calm your nerves down before any exam, no matter how well prepared you are. Like I always feel some nerves before an exam, so it does help me.
Okay, and like before marriage, like a girl and boy just like trying to match their profiles and trying to know each other, and they are thinking that if I like after marriage we will comfortable or adapt the environment or not. So it's same for college applications, like college and students profile or application. Like same like admission officer just thinking that yeah, if that student is fit for all college or anything, so it's true that it's same or
Yeah, that analogy works, because at first like you are looking at the college, and then you probably like would look at their website, or you would like go for the prestige or anything like that, and then you have determined that you like the college, so you will send your application in. And so that's one part of it, that you like the college, you sent your application, and then admission officer would look at your profile, your application, and then they would determine whether they think like you two would be a good match, and then they would either accept you, or if they don't think you would be a good match, then they would not accept you. Or if they think that like you would be a good match, but then there are other good matches who they would like probably give slight priority over you, then they would probably put you on a wait list. So something like that. But of course, like um I mean, that analogy like pretty much works across the board, except like maybe there might be a few circumstances, like, you know, where in colleges, like it works the other way as well. Like a lot of things matter, like sometimes like donation and all those other things like also come into play, but they're not, or legacy status and a lot of other things, but they are not like relevant to international students pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, got it. So that means like some students thinking that if I have a good extracurriculars, then I will definitely got into. So it's wrong, like it depends on fit. If you are good fit for that university, then you can get into, but otherwise if you have a great extracurriculars, so it's not confirmed that you definitely got into, I think. Okay.
So yeah, if you have a good profile, like good extracurriculars, stellar grades, and like good recommendation letters and essays and all that, so pretty much like if you have a solid application, then you should get into at least one like top university. Now it's kind of hard sometimes for you to determine like which university you would fit well into. So if like based on the strength of your application, like you would apply to top universities or like mediocre universities and all that. And once you have uh, applied, like then it's like universities like their job to determine like yeah whether you would be good fit or not. So you shouldn't worry about fit too much. Like on your level, like that's admission officer's job. You should worry about the strength of your application. And so if your application is good, and then you have also like you should also definitely worry about your college application list, like which colleges you're applying to, because you cannot be too ambitious. Like cannot be like, oh, I'm only going to apply to top 20 universities or Ivy Leagues, I'm not applying going to apply to any other university. That sometimes works, sometimes like it can put you can get you in trouble, where you might not get admitted anywhere because of like a lot of qualified applicants and a lot of like people like who would do well in those colleges, they get rejected even after having good application. So you should definitely like choose your college list wisely, like applying a good mix of top universities or mediocre universities or some safeties and things like that, so that like you have something to fall back upon and you're not just like getting into those crapshoot admission.
Okay. And a simple question, like it's true that Sandeep Maheshwari is your favorite motivational speaker. It's true or not?
I mean, it used to be back then, like in 8th grade, 9th grade, or 10th grade, sometime around then. But I have not watched any motivational like
Yeah, like
speaker or like
suddenly I just
videos.
remember, yeah, remember a part of your book, so that's why I
Yeah,
asked. Sorry, extremely okay. And like I think you skydiving two times. I think two times, last year or this year.
I've done it 3 times.
Okay, three times. Great. So what was the experience?
I just really like the adrenaline rush of it or the thrill of it, and like once you are like sort of like after you fall from the plane, and then at for the first like I think 5 or 10 seconds, you sort of feel like a lot of thrill and adrenaline rush, and you're like, yeah, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then after that, like there's a sense of calm that takes over you for the entirety of the free fall, and you're just like just free. And then like then you open the parachute, and then you know like you're gonna land and all that. But I think it's I think it was worth it to do it multiple times for those like 60 or 90 seconds where you experience that sense of calm and like freeness. And then the view is stellar from the sky, like you are sort of among the clouds, and then you get to see things like as you're falling down. And then because like even when you take flights, you don't necessarily get to see things from that perspective, where you just like you're sort of like naked like in the sky, and then you're just seeing everything like that. So I think it was a good experience.
Yeah, and what's about expenses? How you are managing all expenses? Like it's a scholarship or something else? You are like any part time like that?
Yeah, so I definitely like uh my scholarship does cover like almost all of it, like tuition and like living expenses, but they also expect you to like have some on-campus job or something like that. So yeah, I do that.
Okay, great. Like my one student is in USF. I think you know that University of South Florida, and he is struggling with their expenses or many things. So he is in like on campus, so he have many problems. Like his family is not well enough. Okay, well enough. So he have like facing many problems. He unable to get any part-time job, or sometimes he is like he is applying in more than 10 to 15 like jobs, four jobs, online offline, but he is rejected, or he also unable to get any internship. So any tips to get for internship or any part-time jobs, any tips?
um uh, like it would totally depend on the campus and what opportunities they have available like on their campus. For instance, for Stanford, we have a software like Handshake, in which like there are like companies, they post their events on like students, like you make your profile, and then you can like uh, look at like the application dates or things like that for various internship or part-time or full-time job opportunities. And then companies can look at your profile and they might reach out to you to invite you to some of their event or something like that. um so that's pretty much how like people like here on Stanford's campus, they apply for job or get jobs or internships. I'm not sure, but there might be something similar on their campus, or they might be, or maybe handshake like itself might work on their campus, because handshake, I think it ties up with various like campuses. So I'm not sure if it's like in USF as well. But if it is, then he could, this student could use that, or they could. Uh, I would also suggest like there might be like an international center, or there might be a fly office or something like that on their campus that could advise the student or help them land a part-time like on-campus job or internship or something like that. Because I think most like the university and the staff, like they pretty much want to help you, they're on your side. So if you can find the right people to connect with and like share your issues, and then they would definitely like try to help you, barring few like
Okay, and
cases. So
got it. Okay, and according to you, which country is best? Like there are many students saying that Canada is best, or Germany is best, because in Germany there are like free education, or in Canada there are some waivers in part-time jobs, and they are like many things. So which country is best for study? According to factors, like first factor is affordability, second factor is safety, or third factor I think like life, like which in which country the life is most easy or comfortable.
oh, that's a really hard question to answer, because I have not experienced like
I got
the
it.
environment like of every country, right? Like I have only been to States and I've studied in Germany. That's it. So among those two, I like Germany for its nightlife and like and a lot of things. But I also like the comfort of being on a campus with all the students around, like here, like in States. So it depends. Like there are a lot of different factors that come into play, and like depending on what you value more, like maybe you value nightlife or social life more, or you value maybe being around all the students, or like that academic vitality and that environment more. So depending on what you value more, like you could pretty much like ace in any environment. So I have not, of course, experienced like college education in Canada, so I cannot talk about that. Um, but I do cherish both of my experiences, both in Germany and States. So it would be hard for me to pick one.
Got it.
But Germany definitely not in winter, because it snows and it gets dark at 3 p.m. So you're like, what am I supposed to do? Like I get like you get like half the day, like from morning to 3 p.m. and after that it's just dark.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and one more personal question. Like when you attended Fiji, so you said that like when you like before the joining that coaching, you are the most confident person, but after joining, you are the most like silent person. So yeah, it's true, and I think more it's similar to all students who are like attending any JE coaching. So it's similar for all of them. So what is the main reason? Like before joining that coaching, they are just enjoying their life or doing what they love, but after joining that coaching, they are just silent and just preparing like that. So what is the main reason?
I don't know the main reason, but some of the things that I have noticed is because, like in school, like you are supposed to value social life, right? So you make friends and you do a lot of things with them and like around them, and so you do value all those things. So of course, you cannot afford to be silent. But in coaching, like it's fine to be silent. Like you, of course, you go there for 3 hours, and those 3 hours or 4 hours, like you are just in classes, and each you get 5 minutes break to like drink water or something like that, and then there's next class and next class after that. So there's like no room for socializing that much in a way. So you tend to lose that part of yourself, and then it's like all throughout the day, like I don't know, but since I was an sort of an extroverted introvert, so it's like for like 7 8 hours, like you are in school among people, students, teachers, and then you go back home, and then you have hardly 25 minutes at home, in which you get lunch and then you go back to coaching where you are spending another 4 hours and you come back. So you are like surrounded by people. Like in coaching also you're just surrounded by teachers and like students. So you do start valuing that alone time, but you don't get that alone time.
Exactly.
So you try to find that in yourself, inside yourself, by being silent and by just like looking inside yourself, or like going inside yourself, instead of being able to insulate yourself or finding that alone time like somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think that might contribute to it, but of course, like I wouldn't be able to say that to 100% certainty.
Yeah, got it completely, totally understandable. And my many students applying in so there are many programs, RSI, Viva GS, Launchex, there are many programs, so they are applying in Viva GS, or you already have a great experience for Viva GS, so they are applying in Viva GS and they are asking that how to increase my chances, like which is like I have to like which one is the main factor, essays is the main factor, or extracurricular is the main factor, which one is the main factor for getting into RS, Viva GS or RSI?
I think both.
Both. Okay.
And the thing is, like, summer program applications are short. They are not as long as full college applications. So since they're short, like admission officers, they have time to go over it. And those admission officers are usually college students, like who have volunteered to staff at those programs. So they have enough time on their hands, like in a way, compared to full college applications. Like they still get 10 minutes or 15 minutes for an application, but then the length of application is much shorter than the length of a college application. So they would read everything and everything would count. Every program would have a different metric for different things. So the way application review usually works is like you kind of like they put different weightage for different categories, right? So depending on like a program that might put more emphasis on on let's say quality of essay or quality of writing, like if it's literature or something like that program, and another program might put emphasis on the STEM experiences you have had. So depending on that, like they would um like the weightage of like these things would differ. But as far as a student is concerned, you should put your best foot forward in essays, extracurriculars, grades, everything. Like you should not afford yourself the luxury to slack and be like, yeah, like this program, like extracurriculars count more, so I'm gonna focus more on extracurriculars, I'm gonna not focus on grades, I'm not gonna spend much time writing the essay, or I'm gonna just like take the essay lightly. So it doesn't work like that. So as far as a student is concerned, all parts of the application are important. Should focus on everything, make sure everything represents your best self, and let the admission officers and like those reviewers worry about which parts or which part of the application weighs more.
Yeah, got it. In yesterday's meeting, one student said that, sir, I'm not applying in Viva GS. I said why? So he said that, sir, my score is less than 80%. He scored I think 71% in his 10th grade. So he said that, sir, my score is not good enough. So I definitely got rejected from Viva GS. So any suggestion for that student? He have to apply or not?
I would say if he's confident enough in other parts of his application, he should apply, because YYGS definitely looks beyond just grades.
Okay.
And then there are certain programs that do that. YYGS does that, and they do mention it on their website. Like they explicitly say that they are not just looking for good grades. So even if you don't have good grades, you should still consider applying if other parts of your application are good, or like if your essay maybe it might be moving, or your extracurriculars might be like something extraordinary, anything like that. So you should still apply. Like, yeah, don't just let the like grade stop you. But I would of course like suggest to them like to do focus on their like school grades as well, like for 11th and 12th standard, because uh, it might harm them like when it comes to college applications if they don't focus on it, or if there's not at least not an upward trajectory. So grades should only go up from there. From 71 they should only go up. And I would, yeah, for as far as YYGS is concerned, I would say apply it, like, yeah, go for it.
Okay, great, fantastic. And what's about like application process for top universities? Like there are many students who want to get into top universities, and some of these students thinking that without counselor or any paid service SAT coaching like that, so it's compulsory to spend your money on SAT coachings or counselors to get into top universities. It's good idea, or the second idea is just do like everything by yourself, like your application process, SET, everything. So what is the best option, first or second?
Depends on your needs. So if you think you would benefit from having a counselor or having someone keep track of the deadlines or keep track of the college shortlisting or keep track of all the materials that are required for college application, then go for a counselor by all means. But if you think that you are self-sufficient enough or that you can take care of everything along with uh, like all the elements of the college application that you do have to take care of, then you can also, if you feel confident enough in your ability to take care of logistics along with all that, then yeah, Google's your friend.
Yeah, that's great. I just noticed one thing in India, like there are some famous teachers. In one video, one teacher said that okay, if you want to get into top universities, MIT, Harvard, you just have to prepare for IIT JEE because it will help you in your SAT. So I think it's totally wrong because in SAT the toughest section is reading or writing section. I think you agree with that. So he said that if you preparing for JEE, so it will increase your chances, you will score full in your SAT. So it's wrong or right?
I think you answered your own question. That
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like SAT is a different exam than JEE. It
yeah,
has different sections. Definitely, like for math, nothing beats JEE in a way. So if you are doing that, then SAT math would be easy. But SAT is not about testing your math skills. It's more about testing your test taking skills and like a verbal, like of course, like verbal skills and all that. As far as math is concerned, like I said, it doesn't test how good you are at math. It's more about like speed and like a lot of other things. But it definitely doesn't test your math. So JEE won't help there.
yeah, exactly. When you stuck in your nanny's home, or I think there was any signal jam or like that, so you unable to receive emails like that, and you got like call from a global GOT by like that. So I'm just confused or unable to clear what is that case like that. You remember it?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think it was something like that. Like there was, I think, some uh either Bharat Bandh or there was
Yeah,
something that,
yeah,
so there was some kind of curfew, or maybe it was a local curfew, like for this for that district, something like that. And then there was like no internet connection for a day or something. And then that day they had sent an email about like the interview. And since I wasn't connected to internet, like I didn't get that email. And then I I got a call like sort of a week later or something like that, how are you feeling about the interview, or like you have an interview tomorrow. And I was like, what? I did not. And then they were like, yeah, we sent you an email like a week ago or something like that. And so I was just like, uh yeah, sort of surprised or like ecstatic, like not happy that I got the interview, but also sort of like in bit of a rush of frenzy that okay, it's tomorrow, so and I don't know what I'm doing. So something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, great experience. Yeah, and what's out like many students applying to top universities, and they are stuck on your essays, on their essays. They are unable to understand, like they are struggling with their grammar mistakes, like that. So you suggest any kind of like softwares like Grammarly, or any kind of suggestion how they like check their essays or edit their essays or any way?
Um, for grammar, I would say like for the first draft of the essay or the first couple of drafts at least, like don't worry about it too much. Like don't fixate on grammar. You should only worry about grammar like in your final polishing round or like a round before that, something like that, where you can fix all the grammar and like or anything related to language. But before that, like it's more about like the story that comes out and the cumulative part of it. You could have your English teacher review it honestly, like they could like point out grammatical mistakes, or you could use like there are softwares like Grammarly or things like that, which are sort of really helpful. Like to sometimes like like even your teacher might overlook something because just so many words, so there might be a comma missing somewhere, there might be a comma splice happening somewhere, there might be some kind of like infinitive splitting happening somewhere. So like as a final like redundancy, it might be good to use something like that, so that you could like use to fix those mistakes. But of course, like to begin with, you shouldn't worry about grammar and like all that. Just focus on the story. Once that's out there, then you can refine it and all that, and like the points that you want to drive home. And once you have done that, then you can have like in your final polishing or like the editing round before that, you could like just fix those things, other things.
Okay, great. And what's about your future plans? What?
I mean, a lot is still up in the air, so I haven't like fully decided everything yet, but I I'm just looking forward to next like 1.5 year of college, and like I think that will help me decide like what I would end up doing.
Okay, great. Yeah, and what's about like any experience or anything you want to share with Indian students? Like they also want to get into universities and they want to like live a life you are like currently living. So any experience or anything you want to share with us? Because there are many students daily they are asking like after getting into Harvard or Stanford, what is the life exactly? So any experience?
Like the daily life is sort of like you wake up, you go to classes, and after classes, like of course, like all of your friends are on campus, so you would spend time with them, or you would just like study around with them, or like there are a lot of events happening on campus. Like I think a couple weeks ago we had Sundar Pichai on campus to give some talk, and like there are a lot of things happening like that, and there are like a lot of shows happening. Or if you're part of some club on campus, which you should be, like you should definitely join clubs on campus. So you would have club meetings, or you would do something with the club or something like that, or like club planning or whatever that entails. So you would do that, and like um, in the evenings on weekends or something like that, there would be on calls for resident assistants where they would have snacks and all that. So, or they would like play games. So there's like one key aspect of life on campus is like you would never be sort of bored if you put yourself out there. There's so much so happening on campus at any point of time that you are more likely to experience like FOMO than getting bored. So it does really help like if you are eating well and then you are energetic throughout the day so that you can experience everything. Otherwise, like you would just be like feeling low on energy, crumbled in your bed, and then you would not really get to experience all that the campus has to offer.
Okay, great, fantastic. And whenever I see any like any student who are preparing for JE or IIT, I just remember your line, like you mentioned that line in your book. So alpha, beta, gamma, drama. I love that line. So what is the meaning of that line you used?
Oh, like it was pretty much literal, like in Fitzy, like they had the batches alpha, batch beta, and gamma, and all that. And yeah, so it's like you kind of like put people into that hierarchical structure where they're like, yeah, like if you're in alpha batch, you're really good, you're smart. If you're in beta batch, you're mediocre. If you're in gamma batch, then you are not good enough or something like that. So that kind of like that hierarchical structure, like definitely like I would say I take issues with that hierarchical structure.
Yeah,
Like of course, like you do have to have students like separated in sections and all that, because you cannot have like 60 students or 70 students in one class. But yeah, just doing that based on rankings and all that, like I didn't really like that. So that's probably what I meant. So
yeah, fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And one more like personal question, like when you connected with your family members, like daily basis, like I have some students who are currently enrolled in US universities, like they are saying that okay, like they are starting from their day from calling to their parents and saying that okay, I wake up and it's my schedule like that. So you are connected with your family daily or just like weekly?
That reminds me, I have to call my mom after this meeting.
Okay. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so like
um
yeah.
I did used to, of course, like call my parents or my mom like every day since when I first got here, but that frequency sort of dropped like lately, especially this quarter.
Yeah, yeah, it's the biggest reason. Like you have a busy schedule, and first of all, thank you for giving time for us because there are many students are like they have a they just want to get any guidance from pupils like you. Okay, if any counselor guide them, they said okay, it's okay. But if you guide them, so they are just like I have some experiences. Like I in the beginning, I said that a student like put a picture of you in front of his table, so I like that. I like that. Like they are like believing on pupils like you. And what's about India? Like after graduating from Stanford, you want to come back to India or just want to start something in USA or in other country?
That's a question I get asked a lot, both by my international and like uh, American peers alike. So I would love to go back to India uh, at some point, or maybe like right after graduating. As I said, like I haven't like fully settled down on like any after graduation plans yet because I'm still like considering all of my options. But of course, like going back to India is 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 there like is one of the things that I would do when that happens. Like whether that happens right after graduation or a couple years after that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's great. Like that means you love India, and like there are many pupils. They just go to abroad and try to extend their visa and trying to stay in USA as much as possible, or trying to do something or get job in USA. So I think you don't have a same plans. I love your plans. Okay, so thank you so much as an Indian.
I would love to know like how like what you do, how you help people, and like what kind of motivated or inspired you to start.
I connected with some students who want to get into top universities. So one by one, I started guiding them. For now, I just providing guidance to them, these students, or trying to create a community. Like on daily basis, there was a community meetup or like meetings. There at 7 to 8 p.m. we are connected on Google Meet and we are discussing about college applications or try to come like create a community of students or all Indians or now I think in 2022 there are many international students from Mexico or Ghana. They are also joining. So we are just trying to expand our community because we are like I am believing on community because community is more impactful or powerful. If you are connected with all students who want to get into टॉप यूनिवर्सिटी और whoever same kind of dream, so it will like helpful. like अगर आप क्लास में मतलब अगर आप रेस में हो ही नहीं तो कैसे आप जीतोगे. सो आई थिंक अगर वो पहले से एक दूसरे को जानते हैं और दे विल शेयर देयर आइडियाज और देयर एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज एक्सपीरियंसेस, सो इट विल मोर इम्पैक्टफुल और हेल्पफुल. सो इससे क्या होगा, like they don't have to hire any counselor, they have a guidance because there are many students they are helping each other in their essays, in their guidance, in their everything. Like if anyone have any problem in transcript, because transcript are the like biggest problem in India. Like there are many schools who don't have any idea or anything what is transcript, what is LORs, these kind of things. So they are helping each other, that you just have to show my transcript to your school teacher and say that, sir, please make like that. So I'm just trying to connect or provide them guidance.
No, that's really inspiring, and it goes on to your question as well, like about people not being aware enough, because I think you are sort of like working towards that, or like spreading awareness, or at least making it more accessible, because not everyone can afford counseling, not everyone can afford that much time and effort to just do everything from the scratch, or like find everything from the scratch on Google. So it does help that they can like lean back on someone and ask someone questions. Definitely. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, love that, love that. You have many friends in USA, so they are mostly Indians or mostly like international or mostly Americans? What kind of friends you have mostly?
I think I have a decent mix of friends. They're like from US, they are from other international countries, and then there are a few from India as well. So yeah, there's a decent mix.
Okay, fantastic, interesting. Okay, okay. I think I have to end this session. And before ending, I just have a personal question. So, what's about your like? You have any girlfriend like that? Because in USA, it's common, I think.
Not at the moment. They are like better priorities, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also know that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just ending. Or thank you for joining. And if you want any kind of help from us, like then just contact us. Okay. We are always available for you. I think you don't want any kind of help from us because we are like not at moment or not at position to help you. But I'm just like wishing or trying to do my best. And if we are able to help you, then we will definitely do that.
No, I really appreciate that, and I do wish you all the best. I know like you'll definitely definitely do cross the sky limits. So
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
I do hope that.
Yeah, I'm also wishing
Okay.
to cross the sky limit. Thank you. Bye bye, Abhinay. Bye bye.
Bye.